In today's video, we're going to talk about how Zack Snyder created more hype for Blue Beetle than the whole of the Warner Bros. Discovery and the whole of the DC Studios marketing team alone in a single tweet or a single post, because Twitter's now called X.com as well. Interesting how Zack just puts out a random message and it gets more views than the latest trailer that Warner Bros. Posted. Yo, what is good, YouTube? Wished you here. What a video on, I guess you could say, the DCU. The Blue Beetle movie. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Kaiju, Monsterverse, Marvel, DC, pop culture based content that I try to cover on a daily basis. So, Zack Snyder posted an exclusive image. What does this mean? It means the Snyderverse is being restored. It means you're getting Justice League 2 and 3. It means Ben Affleck's coming back. No, it doesn't actually mean that, but you've probably seen a bunch of people spinning that narrative. I mean, it could mean that, because it clearly means that Snyder's talking to the studio, because he dropped an exclusive image, a simple picture that caused so much online traffic. It caused Zack Snyder to start trending because he put an image out. Looking forward to taking my kids to see Blue Beetle. Hashtag representation matters. Hashtag Blue Beetle. As we know, Blue Beetle is the first Latino Spanish superhero in the DC universe, I guess you could say. We don't know if it falls in the DCU or the DCEU, because let's be honest, whatever James Gunn and Pete Safran's doing, there is no canon until they decide to actually release something, which isn't really looking very likely, seeing as the writer's strike is. I mean, it looks like the studios want to come back to the table, but they're not willing. So the official Blue Beetle account on Twitter and the Warner Bros. Picture account on Twitter both dropped the trailer, and Snyder's image has over 20 million views as of the time of recording this video. I find this fascinating because this means Zack Snyder is working with or talking to someone at the studio, or maybe one of his friends like Michael DeLuca or Pam Abdi, or someone at Warner Bros. Studios, or someone. Well, it can't be the DC Studios, obviously. We're talking about Warner Bros. Discovery. Somebody asked him to do this as a favor. Would he do it as a favor? Anybody knows Zack Snyder does not post anything, does not do anything without leaving a cryptic message behind. Or that's what Snyder fans want you to believe. Now, what is even more interesting is, now this is not me having a pop at James Gunn, but it's all right saying James Gunn is the right person for the job. Zack Snyder posts, and we're gonna talk about this in a minute. Zack Snyder's post got more traffic than the announcement of Superman and Lois. People actually think when they reveal the Superman suit, it's going to break the internet. No, it's not. The DC brand is that dead that nobody actually cares about who the new Superman is, to the point where if you were to go on a train or bus or a plane and randomly ask someone, hey, do you know who the new Superman is? Their answer would most likely be, is it not Henry Cavill? They would not know. So 7 million impressions on Twitter from James Gunn. Accurate. They're not only both incredible actors, but they're wonderful people. Them being wonderful people, it's not really important to the role. Sorry, lad. Sorry, lad, it's not. So I know what people will say. But online traffic does not equate to box office buys. Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Just look at the Barbie movie. Just grossed over $800 million. Yet if you were to look at the forecast before that movie came out, it wasn't forecasted to hit close to $1 billion. I mean, just over 2 weeks now, $800 million. It is fascinating to me. It really is. So also in the news, came out yesterday that Zack Snyder's DC films were actually profitable for Warner Brothers. I didn't need a post. I could have told you that years ago when they actually happened, because it's all right people saying, oh, the DC brand is damaged because of Zack Snyder. We've had what? Birds of Prey, Aquaman, Wonder Woman 1984, Shazam 2, The Flash, Black Adam, and all these other movies coming. See, what I find fascinating here, if, let's say, this was a brand deal or ad from Zack Snyder, he would have had to actually publicly state that under the advertising rules, that it was a brand deal or an ad, or at least put the hashtag ad. So if this is the case, why didn't Zack Snyder do this for the Flash movie? A movie that actually cost a lot of money to make. I mean, sure, Blue Beetle wasn't cheap. They're going to have to gross $400 million-ish to break even. But the Flash movie, you had Tom Cruise. You had literally Stephen King. You didn't have War Stew because I refused to go to an early screener because it wasn't the finished movie. And then it turned out that it basically was the finished movie without the George Clooney ridiculous ending that made no sense because he's not the new Batman. Where's Tom Cruise at? Where's that big energy now with Tom Cruise. Send your boy Tom Cruise in. But no, it doesn't look like you're doing that. It looks like you're sending your boy Zack Snyder in. Now, David Zaslav, a lot of people don't realize this about David Zaslav. One of the first things he said when the merger happened with Discovery and Warner Bros. is he said he wants to repair the damaged relationships, collaborations that the old regime essentially did. Because Christopher Nolan basically left because they did day-and-day release with Tenet. Everyone knows Christopher Nolan demands the respect to have a 90-day exclusive run in the cinema. It's standard. So that's why Oppenheimer went to Universal. And Oppenheimer screened on the Warner Brothers plot lock. Why is that? Because David Zaslav is trying to finesse Christopher Nolan to come back and make movies for Warner Bros. Again. And yeah, that's a good practice if that's what he's trying to do. So then we get to this kind of scenario when Zack Snyder posts an exclusive image. What's in it for Zack? Zack does not do anything for shiz. He does not do anything for free, and nor should he. Realistically, he has such a big platform, especially on the internet. What's he getting out of it? Is there secret negotiations going on behind closed doors? No, there can't be, because the founding father, the savior, James Gunn, that has an absolute insane track record when it comes to box office outside of super... Oh, wait, he doesn't. And I think a lot of people sugarcoat James Gunn. When it comes to James Gunn, you have a lot of these, ex-Snyderverse fans all of a sudden jumping ship because they can't make content if you don't support the new DCU. And we've even got the extent to some people saying James Gunn's new DCU is already better than what the DCEU was. And I'm thinking, you're basing it on what? Because he's going to have a soft Superman who climbs trees and who won't get into a fight unless he really has to. Because he's going to embody what Superman really... Superman's an alien, let's be real, right? Sure, he has human characteristics and traits. Superman's an alien, right? So I do find it fascinating how everybody rides James Gunn. And yeah, sure, Guardians 1 was good. Guardians 3 was good. But you've got to look at it. It's got to be critically acclaimed. It's got to be critically acclaimed and also make money. Peacemaker was good. Sure. The Suicide Squad didn't make money. You've just got to keep coming back to that. Then we go over to Pete Safran. Shazam 2 lost money. He's also the EP on, well, technically the EP on everything now. He's also the EP on Aquaman 2 as well. So I do find this energy that these people on the internet have, they kind of keep shifting energy. It's like, keep your energy the same. I'm not saying Zack Snyder's coming back to the studio, but if Zack wanted to work with Warner Brothers again on any project, because Warner Brothers is so much bigger than just DC. DC is probably the smallest part of the studio. I mean, they hold the rights to Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, movies-wise. They've got like the horror movies with It, and they've got, the Barbie movie they've just done. It's just banged. So Zack could come back and work on a non-DC movie, or Zack could just be helping them promote the Blue Beetle movie because he's a DC fan. It could be everything. I don't know how I'm going to title this video. Snyderverse Restore. I can't be restored because James Gunn has 100% control over everything at DC. But does he though? Because we've heard about this backup plan. If everything fails, we're essentially going to get the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson turning into the main Batman. There's a lot of condescending, contradictory statements going around. I don't actually personally believe that James Gunn has free reign, like everyone's saying. So we need Green Lantern, we need Mr. Terrific, we need Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, to make a better Superman movie. Get out of here. No one's buying that. They're really not. See, I'm a DC fan, and I'm just gonna, see what happens when this movie releases and judge it on that merit. Not judge it on the fact that he made some decent Marvel movies at the beloved Marvel Studios that was already well established. Okay, cool. Guardians 1 wasn't, but there's a big gap between Guardians 2 and 3, and it was a conclusion. They pulled on it was an emotional kind of torture, I guess you could say. Guardians 3, they pulled on your emotional heartstrings. So, of course, Guardians was going to do decent, but Barbie's just about to overtake it at the box office. So, did it really do decent? We don't know, but I do find it fascinating how a little tweet or a little post, as Twitter's changed it to x.com, although twitter.com still works, but it's got an X on it. One little post from Zack Snyder sends the comic book universe online into some kind of frenzy that he's coming back. And then the main actor who actually plays Blue Beetle came out and praised Zack Snyder for promoting his movie and said he was a fan of his work and stuff. So I do find it fascinating. Now, everyone always praises Zack, but apparently Zack's hated. So I don't really know where this video is going, but I see all the talk on Twitter yesterday and over the last few days. So I thought I'd talk about it. And sure, yeah, he's also praised Blue Beetle and like James Gunn. I had the pleasure of getting to speak to Mr. Gunn and the whole DC family. At the end of the day, we have to come across this first hill, introducing Jamie to the world. But it's up to the audience to watch the movie. If it does well, we'll get more Blue Beetle movies. Respectfully, Blue Beetle actor, that's kind of common knowledge. If The Flash banged $1 billion, it would have got a sequel as well, because apparently they had a second movie ready to go, but it didn't actually go anywhere because it's the biggest flop ever. I really hope Blue Beetle does well. But what does it mean? Is Snyder back? Are we getting Justice League 2 and 3? Is Zack Snyder doing something behind closed doors? Find out next week on The Warstew Show. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstew to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful face. Check us out on Twitter, Warstew G. And I'll catch you in another video very soon. Guys, catch you later.